Hey, welcome to the beginner's gameplay video for Innomination. My name is John, I'm the creator of the game, and I will do the best I can in order to teach you how to play this game. So this video is going to cover the first 3 terms of Innomination, and I will be using Tabletop Simulator in order to show you how to start playing this game. You can also play Innomination. You can play the prototype that I am playing right now. That is going to be somewhere in the description. Please look for it. Before we start though, there are some things that we need to talk about. Number 1, you don't need to know all of the rules in Innomination in order to play Innomination. You only really need to read the first half of the manual before you can really start playing. And, so long as you have the keyword list, I think you'll do fine. Okay, now, to Tabletop Simulator. Wait, why am I pointing? To Tabletop Simulator. Welcome to Tabletop Simulator. This is the mod for Innomination. Remember that this is prototype 4. That is very important for reference. If you look up here, you can see all of the cards that are currently in the game. All of these will be in the full game box if you buy it on the Kickstarter, and assuming my Kickstarter actually succeeds. So please look at all of them. I really want you to. If you look over to the right over here, you will see all of the cards in the starter deck boxes. These are still a work in progress, but please use them. It's a good quick start. If you press and hold the Alt key on your keyboard, you will get a close-up of every card. This is going to be very helpful because this is a game with a lot of reading. You'll want to make sure that in Tabletop Simulator, the rotation degrees is set to 90 degrees, or weird stuff is going to start happening. Once you have chosen the deck you want to play, you highlight all of it, and then drag and drop it into your board. Once you have done that, put the tokens in the nation synopsis to the side. Now we need to put all the decks in the right spots. The source deck is 15 cards and it goes to the inside of the bottom left. The named deck is 20 cards and that goes to the bottom left. And finally, the biggest deck, the main deck, goes to the bottom right. Now we need to choose our nation leader. They are the one who is going to lead our army into battle. Every nation leader is different, having their own hit points, special abilities, and an unleash, their most powerful ability you can only use once per game. Your nation leader can be attacked, and if their hit points hit 0, they are unable to continue leading your army, and therefore retreat and you lose. For this tutorial, I am going to choose Vendrick. Now that everything is set up, we can finally flip all of our decks over. If you highlight or scroll over a deck, you can press R to shuffle it. You are allowed to look at your named deck and your source deck as much as you want. Do not shuffle the named deck or the source deck. If you do this, you will hate yourself. If you do it in real life, you will hate yourself even more. Now it is time to draw 10 cards. We will only use 5 for our starting hand. There is no mulligan in Innomination. It is already included in your starting hand. And it looks like the card shuffler has decided we should lose. So, we are going to break that rule and do it anyway. But seriously though, there is no mulligan. This is just a do-over for tutorial reasons, you know? Alright, this is a lot better. Good. Now we need to pick 5 cards to keep with us and 5 cards to put back. What you are looking for is called a curve. So you're looking for cards that cost 1, 2, 3, and 4. In Tabletop Simulator, you will have to flip the cards over before you put them on the table. We will put the face down cards on the table. Then we want to drag and put the main deck over the cards so that the cards that we didn't choose go to the bottom of the main deck. Innomination tries to limit the amount of shuffling we have to do at the beginning of the game. Flip the source deck over, and now we are officially playing. I made the quick game guide in order to assist you with each phase of the game. The most important phase I want to bring up is the main phase. In Innomination, there is no combat phase. Everything happens during your main phase. Play creatures, attack. Play cards, attack. Play more cards, attack. Use the flexibility of the main phase to its fullest potential. You need source in order to produce Aether, which you need to spend in order to play cards. You can right-click and press Search on the source deck so that you can look at all of the cards in it. You can only put one source into play every turn, and you choose what you put out, but you need to be careful because some of these sources are not free. I will put a fire spring into play to make this easy. In Innomination, you are always producing Aether, but you need to actually spend it in order to play cards. So to do that, you just turn it over like a certain other card game, right? Wrong! In Innomination, turning cards around actually tells you the number of actions it has. All cards that face up have 1 action. All cards facing to the right tells you they have 0 actions. Cards always have actions, even if they can't use them. When you spend Aether on a card, you flip it over to show that its Aether has been spent. When you do this, that card can't use its actions anymore. If the Aether spent came from a creature, that creature can't attack, defend, or do anything. But it is still a creature. You will have to wait until your next turn before you can spend that Aether again. The trick here is to have the card spend its actions first, and then flip it over to spend its Aether. Any element of Aether can be used to pay for neutral Aether. On the Enthusiastic Trainee, that is black. In this case, I am using Fire Aether to pay for neutral. I was also supposed to draw a card here because of the Enthusiastic Trainee's effect, but I forgot. Summoning Sickness does exist in this game. What that means is, when the Enthusiastic Trainee comes into play, it can't use its actions, use any act keywords, and it can't attack on the turn it comes out. It can still use its action to intercept an attack on your leader. I can't do anything else, so I end the turn. That was the first turn. Out of 3. I know I just threw a ton of information at you, so take a break if you want. At the ready phase, all of my cards get their actions back. Then it is my draw phase. I will draw a card for the turn. Since I went first on the first turn, I didn't draw a card. Don't forget that. I will put a second Fire Spring into play. I stacked them together like this so the same type of source cards stay together. I am going to spend 2 Fire Aether in order to play a Blitz Scout from my hand. Because I put the Enthusiastic Trainee into play last turn, that means it doesn't have Summoning Sickness this turn, so it can spend its action to attack this turn. The Enthusiastic Trainee has an attack of 3. I am going to spend its action to attack the enemy leader for 3 damage. The Blitz Scout only has 2 life and it costs 2 Aether, but it has an attack of 4 and it has Blitz, which means it can attack this turn. It doesn't have Summoning Sickness, so I'm going to have it attack as well for 4 damage. In Innomination, creatures can attack other creatures and leaders. You're the one who chooses who they attack. Creatures can intercept attacks on their leader. In this situation, the opponent has a creature who has an action that can intercept the attack on their leader. Now, we might be wondering, if that's true, why don't we just always attack the leader? If you choose to always attack the leader, it's your opponent who decides who blocks your creature. This usually turns out very poorly for you, so you should probably attack creatures when you can. It is now the 3rd turn. Something special happens on the second player's 3rd turn. We get to unlock the named deck. For this tutorial, I'm going to cheat and just do it for myself on my 3rd turn. Since I went first in a normal game, I would be able to name on the beginning of my 4th turn. You can and should check the named deck often. These are where all of your most powerful cards are. You will need these to win. In order to name a card, you will usually need that card to be in play. Almost always, you will need a very specific card in play. Some stuff ignores this, but let's not worry about that now. You will see on a lot of named cards how there is a lock on it. You need to fulfill the naming requirements on the card in order to actually put that named card into play. Some named cards don't have any requirements. There might be an Aether cost associated with the named card, so when you name these cards, you need to pay the cost. It is my draw phase again, and I am going to draw a card for the turn. Then I will put another fire spring into play. Let's name the enthusiastic trainee. We can see that Polytrained Glint is named from the enthusiastic trainee and costs 1 Aether to name. Always announce that you're going to name the card into what you're naming it into. We are going to pay 1 Fire Aether to name the enthusiastic trainee into Glint. Now we introduce the named dependence rule. If the card type of the nameless card and named card are the same, the nameless card becomes an attachment to the named card and is replaced by it. If the nameless card and named card are different types, they exist as separate entities. You keep both of them. As you can see here, the Servantfly is a creature that is named into a spell. Innomination can be developed in such a way where any card can be named into any other card type. How are you ever going to remember all of these requirements? That's why we created the naming cheat sheet for each nation. This will show you what cards can be named into what, the requirements of the card, and how much Aether it costs to name it. Nameless creatures cannot declare attacks on named creatures. Why? Because plot armor is a mechanic in this game. Nameless creature effects can still target them though. They're not as safe as we may think. When creatures take damage and are not destroyed, that damage persists as they exist on the playing field. They do not automatically recover. When nameless cards are destroyed, they go to the graveyard. When tokens are removed from the playing field, they simply go poof. They do not exist anymore. When named cards are destroyed, they always go to the Banish pile. If it has any attachments, those attachments go to the graveyard. Unless the named card got banished, then it all goes to the Banish pile. I think from here, you should be able to see what it is that you need to do. Innomination gets complicated. That was only the first 3 turns. From this point on, it's up to you to find out what it is that you're going to do each turn. There are so many options in this game. This tutorial was only with Vesuvian, Red, the ones who are considered the easiest to get started to play. This doesn't even get into what any of the other nations can really do. If you are new to playing these types of games, I highly recommend playing Vesuvian. Again, that is Red. They're the ones who are going to settle you into the game the best. If you are a veteran player who has played games like these before, play whoever you think looks cool. Every nation is very different, so you will get a different experience from everyone. One more thing before I end this video. Keep in mind that everyone is still learning Innomination. In some ways, I'm still learning how to play Innomination. Expect games in Innomination to go on pretty long. I'd say about an hour plus. Everyone is still learning how to play this game, and Innomination is designed to end at around turn 8, 9, 10. I hope this tutorial helped you. And maybe one day, I'll be playing with you. So thank you for watching.